Hey everybody, happy Saturday. I am live. This is Helen Fritsch, chatting with you all from a sunny Scottsdale, Arizona. So I am on today and I'm joining with my really good friend, Julie Olson. You might know her as Dolphinine. But anyway, I am getting ready to invite her to join. There she is, and request. And she should be joining us in just a minute. We have so many great gals who are out there who are over 50, over 60. There she is.
There. Hey, Helen. Hey, everybody.
Hey, girl. How are you?
How are you?
I'm doing great. Doing great.
Getting my little camera set up here.
That's all right.
Yeah. So, over 50 fitness. Come on.
Woo!
Yeah. So, we're here to talk to you guys and answer any questions. But I do have to say, Helen's been in the game a lot longer than me, and I'm so grateful to her because she was one of my very early inspirations. I saw her on Instagram, and I'm like, what? Look at those arms. It was
Girl,
unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
Well, and that's the joy of Instagram because, I saw you and saw everything that you had been through health-wise in your life. And then for you to come back, I thought, I had this podcast called Age is Irrelevant. I knew I had to have you on the show because if what you didn't go through was not, so it was so incredibly inspirational. And then to see where you are today, we're both 64 and both competing in bodybuilding shows now. I just I couldn't be more excited and happy to have you as a friend. And then we did a little girls trip about a month ago, went to Vegas.
That was
we have
fun.
A couple of friends who compete in the WBFF, and we decided to go and check that out. And that was a really, really fun weekend. But I know I can speak for Julie and I. We both have a lot of women who reach out and we're, getting asked a lot of questions about fitness and health and diet, nutrition and skincare. And I just said, why don't we just do a live? And if people have questions, we can just answer questions live. And that way, instead of going through our DMs and having to painstakingly, type out every single little thing. So ladies, if you are a seasoned athlete, if you're a new athlete, if you're wanting to get into becoming an athlete, if you have questions about diet, about macros, a lot of people really don't understand macros, and it was really confusing for me when I first started too. So we will not judge you for that because that's a make or break as far as the kitchen and food prepping and having a scale. So you have questions, throw them in the comments and let us know. But Julie, how's everything else going?
Everything's great. Yesterday was an amazing day because I realized, well, I go to the gym every day, and I know you do too, Helen. 5 days a week, I'm in the gym, upper one day, lower the other, isolating different muscle groups, according to my coach, who is Michelle McDonald, your healthy hedonista. And that's her Instagram. And yet 2 hours go by, and I'm like, wow, it goes by so fast, and I look so forward to it. And then I did a HIIT cardio session because I'm trying to keep my fat deposits from returning to my waistline since I'm post-show and I'm eating more food, which you need to do. People don't understand stage weight is not an all year round thing. So
exactly.
I probably put in 3 hours of exercise yesterday, including an evening walk with my husband. And I don't know, 3 hours can get wasted so easily with nothing. And I think that was a really valuable way to spend my 3 hours. So,
all right. Looks like we have some questions coming in already. A bunch of questions. I think the first one I did see was as far as starting with diet. With training. If you're new to this, I highly recommend that you get a trainer or get someone that is well-versed because the gym can be so intimidating and it's scary to walk in and not know what you're doing. I think once you get in there and kind of get a set routine, then the more comfortable that you feel with weight training in the gym, the easier it will be. But I do highly recommend starting off with a personal trainer, or if you have a really good friend who's well-versed in lifting, ask if you can tag along one time and have them show you the ropes.
Yeah, because you don't want to get injured. You don't if you don't have the correct form. And I've been lifting weights now consistently for almost 2.5 years, and I still need so much help with my form. I mean, my coach, you just don't want to get injured. You got to understand what the different muscle groups have to do to support these lifts and these, you know, different exercises that you do. So it is important to have somebody that knows what they're doing.
Right. I agree 100%. And somebody was asking too, because of COVID, there's still people out there who aren't really comfortable going to the gym. It all depends. Like, I live in Arizona. You would never know that COVID exists here. Nobody wears masks. Everybody is, you know, completely, you know, free to do whatever they want. I'm still, you know, I'm immunocompromised, so I still do wear a mask going into certain places. But there are tons of home workouts that you can find, especially when COVID first hit. There's a great website called fitnessblender.com. They have great content. It's all free. Workouts from 15 minutes up to an hour. They have Tabata style, they have HIIT, they have, you know, abs, they have, you know, yoga, Pilates, you know, they have a bunch of stuff. It's a married couple who do this. So fitnessblender.com, shout out to them. And they have great home workouts. And I have a couple of Tabata routines that are my favorites, and that comes from fitnessblender.com. Hello from Paris. Hello from Frankfurt. Hello from Brazil. Wow, this is awesome. This is exciting.
Yeah, there's so many great women. I think that, well, you're all great. You're all shape-shifting queenagers. But when I look at my followers, and probably this is true for you too, Helen, and you're from all over the world. I mean, it just, you know, women have a way of connecting and being a community just by the sheer fact that you know, we all face the same challenges. We're wired the same way in terms of maybe our approach to life, as opposed to being in a male, or, you know, that's a little bit generalization. But I just find that wherever I go, where I'm traveling or living or whatever, I can always find women that immediately I just relate to them. We're friends. Even if we don't speak the same language, we use gestures or whatever. Well, I did see a couple of questions I wanted to answer, and then Helen, maybe you
go ahead.
Grab a few. One was about the spray tan during the competitions. I got a really cute question online. Someone asked me, "Where did you get that great tan?" And I told her I got it at the hotel at 4:30 in the morning when I was sprayed with cold dye naked in a plastic tent. That's where I got that great tan. So that's what they do. I mean, these tanning companies have women who actually have spray that, you know, you're naked and you cover your hair, you put your arms, and they get you everywhere. And then that lasts for the competition. You got to bring black sheets to the hotel so you don't rub off on the hotel sheets.
Yep.
And then when you take a shower, it's like, whoa, all that dye comes off. So yeah, that's actually what a spray tan is like. And then someone said, how did I start with no gym? I actually started 2019 April. I found an online fitness challenge, and there's a lot of groups on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And I happened to know this person that was doing the online fitness challenge because I followed his program like 20 years ago. So I joined the challenge and I won. And what I did was I had dumbbells at home and an adjustable bench, and that's all I had. So I did the same exercises, upper and lower, alternating days, 6 days a week for 30 minutes. And it took me 4 months, but I lost 10 pounds and felt so much fitter, and then things stalled. So I had to up my game. And I would say for someone who lives in a rural area and somebody asks, how do I find a coach? I'm 2 hours from Phoenix. Like Helen said, there's some really wonderful online resources. There's a lot on YouTube. Just be sure that maybe you're using a resource that someone has recommended to you, because I know there's a lot of people out there that might call themselves fitness trainers, but they really don't understand maybe even macros. You know, doing hours of cardio and 1,100 calories a day is not the way to get fit. We used to believe that, right?
That's
the
right.
80s and 90s and 2000s, we've all done that. And now when I see women sweating it out on the street, running every single day, I want to stop them and say, you should be lifting weights, and are you eating enough? You know, but of course you can't get in someone's space like that. So
Right.
anyway, those were a couple of questions that I saw come through.
No, and I would just want to add on to that too, because I'm an online fitness and nutrition coach, and I have a lot of women who are coming to me. And the first thing I try to do is I want them to track their food for 3 days so I can see how they're eating. And I'm like, no judgment, just show me. And every single woman doesn't eat enough, and they don't eat enough carbs. Everybody's afraid of carbs. So I'm giving them all this extra food that they've never eaten before. And all of a sudden they start feeling amazing. And all of a sudden the weight is starting to come off now. And the body's a very fascinating machine. So there's a lot of online fitness coaching and nutrition people out there. So if you live in a rural area and you can't find someone local, then I would highly recommend looking for someone online, because not only are these coaches, like Julie said, there's a lot of coaches out there who claim to be fitness and nutrition coaches, but then again, there's a lot of coaches out there who really are, and they know what they were doing. You know, check out their experience. You know, do they have, like for me, being a bodybuilding pro, when I first started, I was a rat in a maze. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But thankfully, I've had great coaches, great mentors. I've learned so much, and it's all individualized. You can't go to a website and go, I'm going to use that diet. It's like, you have to kind of play with, you know, your metabolism. How tall are you? How much do you weigh? What's your activity level? You know, are you an endomorph, a mesomorph, an ectomorph? It all comes into play. So, you know, if you get a good coach, even if they're online, you can still get the results that you want.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
sure.
Yeah, and hello to Croatia. That's so fantastic.
Oh my God, I went to Dubrovnik 2 years ago. It was amazing.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great. And actually, someone mentioned the app Train with Joan. That's another resource you guys can use.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard about Train with Joan, I don't know, you've been living under a rock, but she is the queen of super aging and being healthy and turning your life around. She's 75, and her daughter, Michelle McDonald, at Your Healthy Hedonista, got her mom into fitness several years ago, and the change was just so stunning. So many of us, when we first saw pictures of Joan on Instagram, I was like, what? I mean, she
right.
was in this pink gym outfit. She was so adorable. I just wanted to hug her. She was just so adorable, but she was so buff, and she was like your granny. She white hair, you know, but the muscles on her. So that program is something where if you don't know where to start, check out.
That's a good idea. Very good idea.
It's not expensive. I don't think it's expensive.
I don't think it is either.
And it's new, and she's really changing the narrative for women over, not just over 50, but over 60 and over 70.
Or 70 now too. Yeah, she didn't start till she was 70. So yes, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
We have a question about skin from Linda _R more fit. Hi, Linda. You're asking about how do you get your skin to tighten up? Well, I'm not really sure if you're talking about overall, your face or whatever, but honestly, weightlifting is the best way to tighten up your skin. When I first started into this bodybuilding thing, I had a flat pancake butt, and the back of my thighs had loads of cellulite. And I don't have any cellulite anymore, and now my butt is perky. And it's all from lifting weights. So, I mean, and that's what's just, Julie was talking earlier about seeing runners. I mean, if we all go to the gym, how many times do you see the same people and they look the same for years because they're doing the same routine, or these runners who look emaciated? I mean, they're obviously great cardiovascular health, but if you want to change your physique, if you want to start feeling better, if you want your body to become more efficient, weightlifting is the way to go. And the older we get, you know, do you want to be hunched over in a walker with a gallon-sized baggie full of prescription pills? No, you don't.
Yeah.
So start now. And even if it's just going out and just doing a brisk walk around your neighborhood, just start. Movement is key. Movement is key.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for Helen and I think we're both, I know from the time now that she's become a friend, a good friend, we're both overachievers. We like to go for goals and, you know, take it to the max, but you don't have to start working out for a competition. You like just walking. Somebody said earlier, I've started walking and I feel so much better. that's fantastic. But as things stall and you don't see results that you want, maybe the results you get, you lose 10 pounds, you feel a little more toned up. That's all you want. And that's fine. But I spent a weekend with a friend about a month ago. She watched me make all my meals. She watched me eat 5 times a day. It seemed like every time she turned around, I was in the kitchen preparing my next meal. And she had 1 meal a day, and she picked at her food, and she's probably 40 pounds overweight. And she's like, what is going on here? I hardly eat anything. I can't lose weight, and you're eating all the time, and look at you. And I told her, I said, Catherine, you know, it's your metabolism. It's injured. You need to heal your metabolism. You actually need food and exercise, i.e. weightlifting, to help heal your metabolism. And as far as the skin thing goes, I've had so many people ask me, have you had a facelift? And I always say, weightlift, not facelift. I don't know. It kind of, I could probably use a facelift. But anyway, no, everything does tighten up. My belly is still pretty wrinkly, like a Zen garden with all the raking. I mean, it's really wrinkly. A topographical map of Mount Everest I put in one of my Instagram posts. But I think if I keep at this for year after year after year, another friend of mine who's a professional IFBB pro, she said, it'll tighten up in 3 years. Well, I'm willing to wait 3 years. And I don't care if my stomach is wrinkled. That's kind of where I am right now. You got to love your body where you are. Don't be hard on your body. Don't hate your body. Love your body, and you'll take better care of it.
Right. B Suitor 65. Hi. She asked, can you get to stage without going to the gym? I understand it can take longer. Remember during COVID, all of us bodybuilders were like, oh my God, all the gyms are closed. What are we going to do? And then we still got to the stage. So it is possible. You're just going to have to, you know, get some weights and bands and you do online, you know, training, and it's definitely possible. We all did it. So if we can do it, you can do it too.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I have to put on my glasses to see the questions. Belgium. Hi, Belgium. Greet. And there's Joanne Zimmerman. Hi, Joanne. There's some people here that we know, setting a great example for those around us. Oh, thank you. Well, I tell you, Helen did that for me. Joan did that for a lot of people. By the way, people have been asking, what's that app? The app is Train with Joan. So if you go on Instagram, look for the Train with Joan account, you'll be blown away. And then I think it's a link in the bio. That's a great place to start, because she started with a lot of medical issues and was on medications, and she's off her medications, and she's just so vibrant.
And what the great thing about that is too, is that her confidence level went from 0 to 1,000. And now she's rocking bikinis and, you know, wearing things that she would never normally show off. I mean, what 75-year-old would show off their stomach?
Right.
Yeah, so she's, you know, for sure, she's amazing. All these people, Carol Lee from Austin, hi. Jasmine from Australia, hi. Allison from London. Okay, here's another question. What do you recommend for nutrition? Okay, that's, you know, nutrition is key, and that's probably 80% of, you know, the whole fitness realm. And I think that's everybody's biggest downfall, is that people aren't eating correctly, people aren't eating enough, and then they don't really understand macros. There's, you know, the kitchen scale is your Bible. You have to have a scale to have a successful diet. You have to measure out your food. And both of us being competitors, even now in my off season, I still weigh out all my food. I mean, it's just, and I travel, and when I travel, I have a little travel scale that I travel with. I just can't go anywhere without my scale. I want to know exactly what I'm eating, because people just think, oh, well, you know, I'll have a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and those things add up, and then you're more than likely eating more than what you think you're eating. So you really, to get into really a good, you know, nutrition habit, is starting to figure out your macros for your body type, for your activity level, for your age, your weight, your height. And once you can establish those macros, and then figure out a goal and make it a reasonable goal. I mean, we all have great goals, but let's say you're 50 pounds overweight. Well, okay, you know that you want to lose the 50, but let's just start off and lose 10. It's much easier to just go from A to B to C to D versus A to Z. And that's where everybody fails, because they start off and they don't see the results they like right off the bat, and then they just give up. Right. So, you know, Julie, I know you can jump in on that too, because all this meal prepping was new to you too, right?
Yeah, definitely. And hi, Switzerland. Oh, it's so great to see people from all over. So there were a couple of questions. One that I wanted to answer about, well, she asked from Switzerland about the macros and how to get started. But first I wanted to address, someone asked about gut issues. What if I get bloated when I eat carbs? I totally get that. I still get bloated if I eat watermelon or too much fruit. So for my body, I'm not recommending this for everyone. You have to find out what works for your body. I can only really handle berries and not a lot. So my fruit intake is lower. I used to have a problem with dairy, but since I've healed my metabolism, I can handle dairy. I used to have a problem with wheat, but since I started weightlifting and healed my metabolism, I have whole wheat toast every morning. So I think sometimes the gut and the bloat issues are based on poor eating habits from the past, eating erratically, eating too much sugar, and not really buckling down and concentrating on high quality fuel as food. And so how to get started on macros, one thing that works, I think, better with macros than if you just like, most diets are like a cup of this, 3 ounces of that, which is kind of inaccurate. What we do is we weigh food in grams, and the grams in food are broken down into those 3 macronutrients: protein, carbohydrate, and fat. And my macro plan prioritizes, for most bodybuilders, it prioritizes protein. So supposedly you have at least 1 ounce of protein per ideal body weight. So if your ideal body weight is 140, you want to have 140 grams of protein every day. Now, my body weight's 104, and I have 140 grams of protein every day because I weightlift and I'm trying to build muscle. I also build my coach builds my carbs around my my training days. My high carb days are on the days that I'm training, and fat is less. Then on days that are rest days, I eat less carbs and more fat. So that what you're doing is you're partitioning food macronutrients within your day to match what your activity levels are, to give you the most fuel and to give you the ability to burn those calories. And then when your metabolism starts working, I mean, now when I eat, my cells just suck in those nutrients, and I get high from eating food. I get high from eating food. So the sense of well-being really, so you have to establish a routine with high quality nutrition before you can expect to sort of leapfrog over some of these issues about gut and bloat and carbs. But carbs are your friend. You just got to pick the right kind. You know, Helen did a great podcast the other day with Paul Revelia, who's a coach in Florida, and she asked him about carbs, and he said most people think carbs are donuts and cookies and things like. They don't think about rice or rice cakes or
potatoes, oatmeal,
potatoes, you know, the healthy carbs. They just think, oh, carbs are bad. Well, donuts, yeah, compared to sweet potatoes, not good. Not that you can't have those once in a while. And that's the other thing. You don't want to deprive yourself so much that you go on a binge. But if you do go on a binge, big deal. Just start over. Just get up and keep going. One day isn't going to make a huge difference, but 2 weeks will, a month will, right?
And what I want to say too, because this happened to me when I first started bodybuilding, I was 56, and prior to that I could eat anything I wanted, and then all of a sudden I started experiencing all this severe bloat, and I was miserable, and I kept thinking I was eating so many vegetables that my body just wasn't able to process all this fiber. Well, come to find out, I just because of age or going through hormone, you know, adjustments because of menopause, I had to pull gluten out of my diet, pulled dairy out of my diet, whey protein powder, soy, anything related to a cow as far as cheese, you know, yogurt, all that good stuff, dairy. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to be able to eat? You know, and once I got rid of all that stuff, it's all fine, but my stomach started settling. So if you really are experiencing bloat all of a sudden after no, it's more than likely it's probably a food intolerance right now. And just do an experiment for a week, pull out gluten for a week, pull out dairy and see how that goes and see how your body responds. I'm still having some issues with bloat, and I did some new testing and just found out yesterday that I'm highly sensitive sensitive to turkey.
Oh, wow.
And white potatoes, and moderately sensitive to chicken and green beans. And I'm laughing going, okay, this is my diet and this is what I've been eating every day. But at least I know. Am I happy that I'm going to have to be pulling this stuff out of my diet and go more towards pescatarian with maybe some beef in there? No, I don't really plan on becoming a vegetarian, but I'm kind of going down that road.
Yeah.
But I feel 100% better. And so that's the thing. So, you know, our bodies go through changes. We continue to evolve. So I would experiment on start pulling some of these problem foods that could be definitely, you know, causing issues, and see how your body reacts to that first before anything else. And then if not, then I would recommend going to a homeopath or someone who can help you identify and narrow down what your bloating issues might be.
Yeah. Yeah. And those can be reversed. I mean, you can heal.
Oh my gosh. Yes. My stomach is like so much better now. So much better.
Yeah. Yeah. So someone asked about protein shakes. Yeah, I have protein shakes, but not as a meal replacement. I don't do it, and I don't have protein powder every day. I like real protein. I'm a meat eater. I like beef. I like salmon. I like fish. I like cottage cheese. I mean, I eat everything. And then someone asked, is cheese okay? Absolutely, cheese is okay. If you work it into your macros, anything's okay. Ask Helen, even a glass of wine is okay. She is a wine specialist, and she was not going to give that up, and she can work that into her macros. And the other thing was meal examples and quality fat. Quality fat examples would be avocado, peanut butter, unprocessed nuts. Helen, help me out here. Olive oil.
Any type of nut butter, almond butter. I use sunflower butter. I love that. Yeah, avocado,
cashew butter,
olive oil. I mean, sometimes, you know, sometimes when I'm low on fat at the end of the day and I'm like, going, oh, I got to do something, I'll just take a tablespoon of olive oil and just down it. I know that's like, oh, but it works.
And also the natural fat in steak and beef and salmon is really healthy, and eggs. So you can get your fat, your healthy fat from
there's the egg yolk also in eggs for sure. Yeah, and that's a good healthy fat. Yes, for sure.
And then someone asked about meal examples, and I'll give a few, and I'm sure Helen, you can. So on my high carb days, I'm sort of in a routine now of having 2 pieces of whole wheat toast with 5 grams of olive oil butter on it. And then I make a shake with 165 grams of egg whites and 55 grams of blueberries and black coffee. Well, not all together. In the blender, is the blueberries and the raw egg whites. And the raw egg whites, the liquid egg whites, come in a carton. They're pasteurized and they're organic. And people are always like, you can drink those? And I'm like, yeah. The Whole Foods kind are not slimy, and I love it. And I put a little water flavoring in there too, pineapple coconut, and it's delicious. So that's breakfast. And then after the gym, I'll have some pasta with cod, marinara sauce, and Parmesan cheese, and that's delicious. And then for my third meal, which I just had, I'll have white rice with hoisin sauce, salmon, and carrots. And then I still have 2 meals to go today. So those are some examples. I'm sure Helen has some good ones.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I always laugh when you were younger. You're always eating bagels, cereal, all these processed foods for breakfast. But now, my normal breakfast would be obviously some type of lean protein. It would be like a chicken, turkey. I would also do eggs also too, depending on my training. But yeah, I have sweet potatoes. I have millet, which I love.
Oh, millet's great.
Quinoa, which is another great source. I mean, and of course, then there's rice. I do gluten-free oats. So, and one thing about, I know Julie and I do, is that, you know, I prep food in advance. I prep in bulk. That's the key to winning at a diet. You can't just be like, okay, I'm going to make this and then I'm done. Because if you have all these things in your refrigerator ready to go, all you have to do is pull it out, throw it on your scale. And then if you want to add some sauces, you know, pesto is another one of my favorites that is a, you know, like a healthy fat. Primal Kitchen has some amazing sauces. They've got this steak sauce that's sugar-free that I love. They have a barbecue sauce. You know, there is sugar-free out there. They have sugar-free maple syrup. So if you want some type of gluten-free waffle or something, today's world is so much better as far as, you know, looking as far as getting, you know, the food quality that you want versus way back when. And I can't stress enough is that you have to read the labels on these food containers at the store. Don't look and say, oh, fat-free, and throw it in your cart. Always look on the back, because sugar is in everything. I make my own salad dressing now because all these salad dressings are out there that are amazing. They all have sugar. They've all got, you know, tapioca extract, sorghum. Some of them have artificial flavorings and colors. I'm like, well, artificial flavorings of what? So it's just easy for me to squeeze my own lemons or limes and then add some olive oil, a little Dijon mustard, or there's some balsamic, and presto, you have a really healthy, you know, salad dressing. So there's little tweaks that you can do, but prepping in bulk is the name of the game. Like, for example, they had these boneless turkey breasts at the store that I would cook. I would cook I have an air fryer. I would air fry 5 or 6 chicken breasts at a time. I would cook a big pot of sweet potatoes, a big pot. I'd roast Brussels sprouts, steam asparagus, cook some millet, and then all that's in my refrigerator. I would bake some cod, maybe grill a steak or a couple of burgers, and then that sets me off for 3 or 4 days. So it's just like, then all I have to do is just go to the refrigerator, weigh things. If I eat a lot of stuff cold now. I don't really need to eat things hot. I think I'm just so used to it. But you can microwave things, add some really good sauces. Tortillas are another great carb, and they've got these great egg white tortillas now that are only 25 calories, and they're 0 everything else. So if you're looking for that little tortilla with some salsa and some meat, that's the way to go too. There's so many great tweaks out there.
Yeah, and I also think for carbs, healthy carbs besides sweet potatoes and some of the other things we said, frozen vegetables are carbs, and frozen vegetables have just as much nutrients and vitamins as fresh. And sometimes, I know my husband and I will get really, you know, excited about the kale in the store, and we'll buy all this kale. And then it'll go bad in the refrigerator and we didn't actually eat it in time. And that can happen a lot. So frozen vegetables are fine. And someone asked about organic butter. You know what? I don't really pay attention to organic or non-organic. Every once in a while, guys, I drink a Diet Coke just because I like them. And I think part of, there's a peanut butter by Professor Nuts is the brand, which is a really strange name, Professor Nuts. But it was made for athletes because it tastes and looks just like peanut butter. And I posted that a couple of times on my Instagram, and the messages I get from people, oh, it's full of chemicals. I wouldn't touch it. And that's cool. Don't buy it. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to eat it. But I'm willing to try anything. And I don't know, maybe it's my constitution. Helen, maybe it's that we grew up with moms who were 50s housewives, 50s totally. And 60s housewives. We had TV dinners. It was like, my mom was a great cook and nutritious. She always had like meat and potato and salad. We always had that. But I feel like I can eat anything now and get away with it if it tastes good. If it doesn't taste good, I'm not wasting my macros. And the other thing I wanted to say is I was a big lover of brown rice. And when I started working out, brown rice is great for fiber, and it's got protein in it. And, you know, it's a great food. But I noticed a lot of bodybuilders didn't eat brown rice. They ate white rice. And I asked someone about that, and they said, well, it's because it turns into glucose faster. And that made a lot of sense to me. So when you eat food, when it passes through your digestion system, it gets everything turns to glucose in your blood. And this is what your pancreas does, is regulates your blood sugar according to the food you feed it. And if you feed it a high glycemic index food, meaning it turns to sugar really, not sugar, but glucose really fast in your system, some of us can handle that and some of us cannot. Like orange juice on an empty stomach, no, no, no. That's an American tradition. You go to a hotel, you get breakfast, and the first thing they bring you is a glass of orange juice. That's like drinking down a cup full of sugar first thing in the morning. Your stomach is empty. It immediately turns into glucose, spikes your blood sugar. And if you're lucky, you won't fall asleep at the breakfast table, because that's what happens. If you get really tired after you eat and you want to go to sleep, you get really sleepy, it usually means that your blood sugar has spiked and now it's crashed and you have to lay down. And so look at what you're eating. Look at how food affects you, and try and also get in touch with the emotions that you have when you want to reach for something sweet. Like I used to travel for work, and my husband's a chocolate lover, and they always say chocolate and love release the same hormone in the body. So when I was gone on business trips, I'd come home and the refrigerator would be full of chocolate. That's all he ate. I was it was a substitute for me, the chocolate. But anyway, food is such an important component. And if you aren't seeing results, look at your food. What are you doing there? Like, what's happening with your food?
Also, too, this is a really good one, too. Philly Girl, TDW, says, do you have people you train get blood work done for their hormones? I highly recommend it. I actually have a client right now who's been with me for over a month, and she should, 6 weeks or so, and she's really struggling to take this weight off. And I keep telling her, you've got to go to the doctor. It said, at our age now, your hormones are so out of whack. She hasn't had a hormone panel done in a while. So yes, I highly recommend you getting your hormones done. I did the same exact thing when I was prepping for a show early on in my career of bodybuilding. I was like, what's going on? And so I finally went and got a hormone panel done. My hormones were non-existent. They were like, how are you even being sane? I mean, my testosterone, all these, the estrogen, the progesterone, barely detectable. Once I got onto some bioidentical hormones, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm like a new person. So then things started like revving up. My body started working finally. So yes, highly recommend getting blood work done if you're getting into a skin regime, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm saying, I think it's Cheryl's asking about water, iced water or room temperature. That's a personal choice. Like, I think Americans and people in the West, we love our ice water. We have friends that are from Singapore and Malaysia and India. And when they come to the US, especially when they go to a hotel or whatever, they're freezing already. And then they're served ice water. They just don't get it, because in the East, everybody drinks room temperature. For them, that's a much more comfortable thing. So it's kind of how you grew up and, what you're used to. But I don't think ice water or room temperature makes any difference unless it makes a difference to you. And I think drinking water, too, is such an important component for health, just to keep things flushed and going. Don't you think, Helen?
Yes, a lot of people don't drink enough. I make it a point to drink a gallon of water every day. And even when I'm prepping my last week, I'm sometimes up to 2 gallons. So even that's going to help too, especially with COVID. I mean, it's just like it's continuously flushing out toxins in your body. If you have a bad day of eating one day, I had a cheat meal yesterday. I was given a cheat meal. So I just went out with my friends. I went to the Van Gogh immersion last night. It was phenomenal. Ooh. And we went out for happy hour afterwards, and I had a burger and fries, and you know, it was just like, it was amazing, but I'm like laughing today because you better believe I was like flushing water. And my systems, all systems go today because everything
Yeah.
was like, that one meal is done and gone.
Yeah.
So,
And you know, when you're not prepping for a show, those cheat meals, I had a cheat meal last night too. And it's like, the scale's always up 2 pounds the next day. And I'm like, no big deal, because I know it's going to come down again. You do not gain two
no,
pounds of
it's all
fat
water weight.
overnight.
Yes, exactly.
You
And
don't.
sodium. And like, you know, if you're eating foods that you haven't eaten in a while, it's water weight, it's sodium.
And your
And
muscles hold on to the water and the carbohydrate. But Fit Fire Living asked, how do you handle the social restrictions of a fitness journey? Sweetheart, I don't have any social restrictions at all. You know, it's like, what I have decided with my life is what I prioritize. I arrange my life around my fitness, and that means, you know, my husband and I moved to where we are now, and we aren't drinkers. We don't drink alcohol, and we find ourselves in communities where that's what people do for socializing. And since it's not really a part of how we socialize, you know, we don't really fall into those groups. However, if it is a part of your life, maybe you like to have a glass of wine with friends, or you can do that. There is no social restriction at all. And, you know, if you go to a family dinner, now you know, we're 64. Both my parents passed away in the last 3-4 years. And I've got siblings. So when I would go home for holidays, you know, my mom would always be a little bit like, you're bringing your own food. Why aren't you eating what I'm cooking and all that kind of stuff? So I don't have that pressure anymore. You just have to figure it out for yourself. What's more important, your health, your longevity, your fitness, or making someone else feel better about what you're doing? And too often women make apologies and excuses to others when they really don't care. It's your body. And I think you have to stand up for what you're doing to keep it healthy. And even family can be really demanding, but this is part of standing your ground, I think, and saying, this is important to me and I'm going to do it. And eventually people look at you like, wow, I really respect her. She's really, you know, and then it's not a part of the conversation anymore. But you have to decide personally what you feel you can cut out of your life and what you can't. For instance, I cut down on my teaching load. Well, I kind of had to, because my husband had an accident last year with his leg and I needed to be a caregiver. But after I did that, I thought, oh, I like this. I have extra time to work out, you know. And it's less money, but I don't care. I'd rather have less money and better health. I mean, it's kind of, what do you want? What do you want in your life? And you deserve it. You deserve it. You can have it. And don't let other people, doctors, loved ones, friends. And when I say doctors, I don't mean don't listen to their advice. What I mean is that they might say to you, I've had women say, well, my doctor told me now that I'm in menopause, I'll never be the same weight I was when I was a ballerina. Sorry, that's bullshit. That's not true. I weigh less than I did in high school. I weigh what I weighed in junior high. And I'm way past menopause. I was also told after my transplant, with all the drugs I'd be on, one of which was a steroid, that I was going to balloon, maybe gain 100 pounds. I was determined that was not going to happen to me. I didn't listen to the nurses or the doctors, and it never happened to me. I really watched my appetite, and because those drugs can really kind of make you super hungry. So don't listen to other people. Listen to your body and know that whatever answers come through you, that's truth for you. I mean, do you feel that too, Helen, that you really have to decide what's true for you?
well, I think all of us, you know, once we turn 50, you know, we're at this crossroads, and all of a sudden now the kids are gone. We're empty nesters. We might be going through relationship changes. We might be getting divorced after 30 years. We may be going through menopause now, and now all of a sudden the hormones are shifting, and all of a sudden now we've put on, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. COVID, the COVID 15, the COVID 20, or, you know, whatever. it is hard, it is rough, but the thing is though, life continues on, time continues to tick. So for me, it's like the first 50 years, that was kind of like my training wheels, the first 40 years. You know, you have to go through all that bullshit. I mean, I was a train wreck in my 20s and 30s. And finally in my 40s, I started kind of getting my act together. My 50s were amazing. My 60s are even better. I can't wait for my 70s. And, you know, it's just like I do for me. I make me happy. And that is, you know, like I'm training for the, I'm competing in the Masters track and field Huntsman Senior World Games next month. I'm going to be throwing the javelin and the discus.
Fantastic.
I started pole vaulting this year for the first time because I want to. I mean, I don't let my age inhibit me. That's just like, you know, I had Julie on my podcast, Age is Irrelevant, because I want to find women and promote people out there who are, you know, redefining, rebranding the terms old age and over the hill, and they're not afraid to step outside of the box and take that jump. I mean, does my family, you know, understand bodybuilding? Not really. I mean, they don't really seem that interested or that vested in it. I mean, they're happy when I do well, and they do ask me about it occasionally, and they're very, very mindful of me when I go out to a restaurant as far as, well, we picked this restaurant because of your diet, and that's wonderful. But a lot of people just don't get it, that, you know, that you want to start this new fitness journey. And it's just not a fitness, but it's anything, any type of hobby that you have, anything new that you want to do. I mean, now's the time. You know, we're not getting any younger. But just go for it. You have nothing to lose. I preach in my podcast, you know, you need to get out there and find that like-minded community. And if you live in a rural area, then you reach out online and you try to find Facebook groups. Google. I mean, if you go onto Instagram and you Google, you know, fitness over 50, you know, women fitness over 50 or fitness programs over 50, you're going to come up with just a plethora of stuff. So, you know, it's out there. And backtrack on the social thing. There are so many wines out there now, and alcohol. These alcohol and wine in these wineries have developed these really low calorie, low carb, low sugar alternatives that might not taste as great as a luscious 2017 Cabernet from Napa Valley. But I have a handful in my little refrigerator. Bev, B-E-V, is one of them. And with it being so hot here in Arizona, I mean, I have a couple of the rosés there, but I think it's, I don't know, it's less than 100 calories. It's 3 carbs, a couple of grams of sugar. So if I'm in a social situation or whatever, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm going to grab one of those. And at least you can throw it in a wine glass and you can act like you're pretending. I mean, Absolute has these cans now of Absolute and soda with a splash of raspberry. Same thing, under 100 calories. So there's great alternatives out there if you're wanting to stay in the social scene and not add all that extra sugar and, you know, carbs to your diet.
Yeah, and there's I think it's Jersey Girl 888. She's looking for, you know, she likes online, but she's looking for real people. I totally get that. I have to be around people too, and I think that's where a gym can be really wonderful. The gym I go to, I call it an old school meathead gym because they're older people, a lot of older guys who played football in college, and they're serious meathead bodybuilders. And guys, I find, especially the older ones, are more than happy to chat. It seems they get really excited if sometimes I go in the gym and some idiot, has left 100-pound plates on the Smith machine. Okay, I can handle the 45s if they're low, but I can't reach up and take 100-pound plates off a Smith machine. So I'll have to go ask a guy to help me. And they always just seem so happy that, because normally I think they don't want to look at me. It's kind of like, I'm not here to flirt. I'm not, you know, they see me with my husband. They don't want me to get any ideas. I don't know. But I find that a gym is a fabulous way to meet people. I have met some of the neatest people at my gym. And, you know, not that we hang out outside the gym, but when you spend a lot of time at the gym, you are hanging out, you are doing life. And, you know, and the other thing is I do still focus on my workout. I don't go there to socialize. You know, usually I have my headphones in and I want to get my workout done and get back home. But just knowing there's friendly faces there that you can chit chat with while you're resting in between sets or whatever. I really like that. I like that.
And also too, gyms offer all these classes, and you can get to know people in these classes. And I do Orange Theory like at least once a week. It's an hour class, and they're all over the country. It's mindless. I go in there. The workout's never the same. It's, you know, cardio. It's treadmill, rower, and then interval weight training. And I've met people there too, you know, so it's just like, you know, if you're surrounding yourself and you're, you know, physically going into these, you know, situations and establishments with like-minded people, you're going to find people that you can hang with and then reach out to and become friends with. So one of the gals asked, Linda asked, how hard was it getting comfortable in a bikini on stage? It's still hilarious to me. If someone would have said to me when I was 20 that I was going to be in my 60s parading around in a thong bikini and 5-inch heels in front of 500 strangers one day, I would still be like laughing on the floor. It's very hard. It's very intimidating. You're like a deer in the headlights. I'm an NPC judge now. And so I've judged a couple of these shows, and then they have a novice division. So all the girls come out and actually everybody does a great job, but you can see some girls, they're shaking. They're just so afraid. And then you have all these lights on you, and then this panel of 7 judges. So it is very intimidating. And the only way you're going to get over that, see, now when I go, I have a show in 5 weeks, I don't even get nervous anymore. I mean, I get a little apprehensive, like, okay, here it is. I'm you know, getting ready to get on stage and take a deep breath, but I don't get the jitters anymore because you prepped all that way now and you are ready. So go knock it out. You know, it's just like, but it takes time just like anything else. You know, once you get more accustomed to it, but it is very scary in the beginning. I'm not going to
know what it was for me, but I wasn't nervous. I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome. That is so good. I'm so glad.
And I think it's because I've done motivational speaking, like in front of thousands of people and being on stage. I had a dream once that I went out on stage to give a talk, and I tripped on my way to the center of the stage. And rather than be embarrassed, I laughed, and the audience laughed with me. It was like we were all in on the same joke. And sometimes I think that dream cured me of any fear of making a fool out of myself, because when my first show, which was in June, I went out there in that bikini. I was so happy. I was just joyous. In the pictures later, my husband took pictures, and I looked at him and I said, is that me? It was just like, I was so lit up and happy to be out there. I didn't care about being in a bikini. And I also knew that the people that were in the audience and the judges and everybody backstage, they understand what this is about. Like when this coach first suggested to me, you should be in a master's bikini competition, I'm like, what? In my 60s? I don't think so. And he said, no, you should. You really should. They have a division for over 60 sometimes, and you should train for it. So I went online. I started looking at pictures, and I'm like, my God, this is soft porn. Why the heck would I want to do that? You know, like when you show your glute hamstring tie-in and you bend over, it's like, I'm not doing that on stage. But a year later, I was doing it on stage because I knew there was a purpose to it.
Yeah.
I had worked for it. And I think most of the people that are there, I would hope, are there to appreciate that the physique that you have created through discipline and going to the gym and working with your body, that's what you're celebrating. And it takes it out of the realm of titillation and sexuality. I didn't feel that vibe at all.
Yeah,
so that also gave me confidence. I thought, people are not here for a strip show. They are here because they love bodybuilding, and I love it too. So why not have fun? And I did. I just didn't make me nervous. But the year before, I was like, no way am I doing this. No way. And my husband, this coach, said to me, you got to make sure Paul's okay with that. I married the right guy. He's okay with whatever I want to do. If it makes me happy, he's okay with it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
We've got a gal asking how to determine nutrition, Team Mama Bird, for losing fat and gaining muscle. The best way to do that, and I think somebody else, Kathy, FRA, is that Kathy Frankfurt? I'm a flight attendant. FRA is the city code for Frankfurt. Hi, girls. But she was also asking about macro coaching. Once again, the Train for Joan app is a great app because I'm sure macro coaching is in there. But if you Google macro calculator, you will come up with, and basically what it is, it's just like you're plugging in your info, you're plugging in your age, you're plugging in your weight, you're plugging in your activity level, you're plugging in your
height.
Your height, exactly, and then you're plugging in your goal. Do you want to lose weight, gain weight, put on muscle? And then it's going to come up with your macros, and these are like generalized, but it's a really great starting point. So if you're not really sure where to start, you could go that route. And then I highly recommend you downloading some type of macro calculator. The one I use is called MyFitnessPal. I know, Julie, you use the one from Tulum, and that is Macro Plus. Is that what that is?
It's My Macros Plus.
Yeah, My Macros Plus. So, I mean, I think those are the two best ones out there. And they're very easy because you can go into these apps and you can plug in the macros that you are wanting to achieve, just plug them in easily. And then all of a sudden, it's like a running total. So, I mean, every single meal, I'll plug in what I'm eating, and it'll come up with the macros automatically, and then it has a running total. So as the day continues, my calories go down. So I'm able to see, oh, I still need to get in 50 grams of protein. Oh, I still need to get in, this and that, whatever. So you can just kind of see your way through the day. Other people want to plan out their entire day, and that's fine too. I don't. I just do a running total because I'm not really sure what I want to eat. I know I have a refrigerator full of food, and it's just like, do I want a salad? Do I just want a tortilla? Do I want eggs? What do I want? But I would go online. And there's a lot of these macro calculators that are free that you can plug in your info, download an app like MyFitnessPal or My Macros Plus, and then you can, I mean, they're fairly easy to figure out. If you guys need any help with macros as far as the apps, I mean, she or I, DM us and I will be more than happy to help you walk through and set that up. But that's the best way to hold yourself accountable for your diet and nutrition portion. And that way you can it'll ask you, like MyFitnessPals will ask you, what's your goal? And then it'll basically tell you what you need to do to achieve these goals, how many calories you need per day. And once again, like I'm saying, it's generalized, but it's very on point, and it's a great starting point.
Yeah. And hello to Austria. That's fantastic. So also I wanted to say that the macro calculator, there's a great one on Paul Revelia's provisic.com.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
So
it's free.
I have the link in my bio. So if you go to my Instagram and go to the link tree, it'll take you to actually my interview with on Helen's podcast. And there's also a macro calculator link to the one on provisic.com. And also, if you use My Macros Plus as an app to count your macros, the group, the Wonder Women Official. So the Wonder Women are a group of coaches that have trained under Michelle McDonald, and they have a series of YouTube videos on how to use My Macros Plus. So the information is free and it's out there. So, sometimes when I get DM'd or questions from followers, I always feel like, gosh, I'm probably not the best person to ask. That's something you could Google, and so don't be afraid to research. I'm a real sort of tech person. I love exploring and researching and learning. So I'm always looking for answers. So I think your curiosity should drive you to find out what would work for you, because what works for me and works for me and what worked for Helen and works for Helen will be different. Helen actually is way taller than me. I'm way shorter. So, our nutrition is probably completely different just based on our size, our height, So you are unique, and finding these answers, I mean, we're so more than happy to help, which is why we're doing this session. But The fun part is discovering for yourself what those answers
Oh my
are.
God, that's the best. And yeah, YouTube, I've learned more on YouTube, not only about fitness, but if you want great exercises, if you want a Tabata routine, if you want to learn how to work MyFitnessPal or calculate your macros, there's going to be a YouTube video on it. I mean, everything that you've ever wanted to know is on YouTube. So I highly recommend you checking out YouTube. And hello, Samira 40 from the big island of Hawaii. That is so awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And let's see, can you repeat that over 70 app? Oh, it's Train with Joan.
And then there's also a question here. When you have Julie's body shape right now, but your lower belly has a pouch from a pregnancy at 46, congratulations. Do I lose weight or build muscle? You know, I have a pouch too, or a pooch, whatever you want to call it. My mom, my sisters and I, we all inherited from our mom. But when I was on prepping for the contest, I couldn't believe I had abs. I mean, I had to get way down. I had to get down to 98 pounds for my abs to show. Your abs are not going to show unless you get way down, and that's not always healthy. So you can't spot reduce. You know, I think losing fat is an ongoing sort of thing. And if you've got a little tire around your middle, I think it's a matter of losing more fat. And I don't know, cardio helps me do that.
It does, but don't forget it could be hormone related too. So
true,
if you haven't had any blood work done in a while, check that for sure.
Yeah, it deposits there. And you know, the weightlifting, what the weightlifting does too, it builds muscle at the same time that you're losing fat, which is the ideal combination. You don't want to just do one and expect results like losing the fat. But yeah, our bodies are all different. That's just something that it's like, it's really hard to answer a question like that. Don't you think, Helen?
Yeah, no, it is. It is. We all have, I mean, there's so many programs out there. And I think in the beginning, you're like a kid in a candy store. You don't know where to look and who to believe and who to trust, because everybody is trying to vie for your attention. But it all depends on, you know, how fast your metabolism is, you know, your activity level, how old you are, your weight, your age, your height. I mean, all those things take into account. So it's just, you know, I would reach out to someone who, and also too, someone's asking, I have a website called ageisilrelevant.com. And my podcasts are on there. I do online fitness and nutrition coaching. I just recently started a pro-agers private Facebook community, which I have not been very involved in, but finally now I'm freed of doing some things. And so I can jump back into that community and start providing more info for that. But if you want to reach out and check out check out the podcasts, or if you're interested in coaching, you can do that. And Joanne, it was great meeting you in Vegas also. And I'm just trying to think. And hello, hi Lee from New York City. I love New York.
I do too. I used to live there. It
and
me up and spit me out, though. Actually,
let's see what else we got here before we leave. We've been talking for almost an hour. That's amazing.
Yeah, we thought 30 minutes, but unless it went over.
And Lucia's from Spain. Oh, I have family in Spain. I freaking love Spain. I love Madrid. I love the whole freaking country. It's just so amazing. Sam GVA from Geneva. Wow, this is awesome. Oh, and Kim. Hey Kim. Yes, I can DM you. There's a couple of people in Charlotte. I don't live there anymore. I'm in Scottsdale now, but I can DM you a couple of people if you're interested in personal training. My coach, my nutrition coach is up at Lake Norman, and he and his partner are amazing. They have they're absolutely the bomb. So I'll send you that info.
Watching from London. Hello, London. And then there's a question, what do you think of waist trainers? Actually, I would wear a waist trainer when I did my cardio in the morning, power walking. And basically what it did was just remind me to hold in my stomach. It really didn't do anything other than that.
Waist trainers are great if you want to get a good sweat on, but waist trainers are not going to help you lose fat.
Yeah,
unfortunately. It's a myth. It's a myth.
You're not going to lose inches there. But it would just help my posture. And it helped me remember to hold in my stomach, which you
I
have
agree.
to do when you're on stage, right,
Yep.
Helen? Yeah, yeah.
Bumblebee B says, if I'm on a budget, what are the must-haves for exercise needs? Okay, so I mean, some dumbbells. I mean, sets of dumbbells, bands, um, even like a physio ball. I mean, if you can afford a bench, that would be awesome. But you don't really need a bench either. It's just, I think dumbbells and bands are just like primo, right? Right,
Right,
Julie?
absolutely, absolutely. And bands, the big loop bands, and then the smaller body bands. So
Yeah.
you can do a lot with resistance bands and a lot with dumbbells.
And there's tons of programs online for those too. I mean, as
Right,
far as,
right.
if you can Google, you know, there's just, especially on YouTube, if you go onto YouTube and Google booty band workout, you're going to get 50 of them,
Right,
so
right,
there's
right,
just a ton.
right. And so I just also want to make clear that Helen is a coach. I am not. So right now my journey is about learning as much as I can. I'm getting certified, meaning I'm taking courses. But so being a coach may or may not be in my future. So just so you guys know, because I know I get a lot of questions and requests to coach, but that's not actually something that I can offer. Yeah.
And JG Bordner asks, this is really important. Using the food scale, it needs to be weighed and when uncooked, right? No.
Cook.
Yeah, you're going to want to weigh it when it's cooked because, for example, and this was, it's my biggest pet peeve going into a restaurant. You'll see on the restaurant, 8-ounce filet. Oh, this is going to be great. And then I get an 8-ounce filet and it's really a 5-ounce filet. Well, they're weighing before they cook. And then it's, and I actually ended up getting into a major discussion with one restaurant that I went to. I said, this is false advertising. I ordered a 6-ounce filet and this is 4 ounces. And I, because being a bodybuilder now, I know I can look at stuff and just pretty much tell you what it is.
Right.
And so, it's going to be, you want to weigh your food after it's cooked.
Yeah. And actually that Wonder Women official YouTube will also show you how to put recipes into a macro calculation, and then you can put that into, I know you can do it in my Macros Plus app, which is really helpful. When I traveled to Las Vegas to meet Helen, I was going to take some protein bars, and every protein bar from the health food store was mostly carb. It would have like 8 grams of protein, which is nothing, because I have about 28 grams of protein per meal. So I thought, well, I'm just going to make my own. So I used that Professor
They were so good.
Peanut butter. Yeah, I shared with Helen. Protein powder, a little coconut flour, a little organic white flour, some stevia, and rolled it in hemp seeds. And it was a little carb, but a lot of protein. And they were portable. So if you want to make up your own recipes, and I think there's a real need for high protein bars. Most of them only have like 8 grams of protein. I'm looking for 20 to 25 grams of protein, and they're just not out there. So I thought, well, I'll make my own. And you can learn how to do that on the YouTube by the Wonder Women official. Yeah.
You can, there's so many great, you can Google that pretty much anywhere and you'll get that. And Linda also added that she adds fermented food and her bloat is gone. I'm a big believer in fermented food too. I actually have, fermented sauerkraut because I love sauerkraut in my refrigerator right now. So I'm a big believer in fermented food also.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking we should let these ladies go. They've been great. This has been great, Helen. It's been so fun to do with you. This has been wonderful. And all these women from all over the world, thank you for coming on.
There's a couple of just more. Let's see, what is a good gluten-free bread brand? Udi's, I think, is a good one. But if you have I have a gluten-free bakery here in town, and that is going to be the best, I think, because it's freshly baked. Everything is frozen, and you can just bring it home and throw it in your freezer. So I would highly recommend you looking for a gluten-free bakery in your own town. If not, but Udi's, U-D-I. White potatoes potatoes are potatoes. They're great. They're higher glycemic. They have more sugar. So if you're looking for a good quality potato, I would lean towards a sweet potato. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And they taste better, I think. I love sweet potatoes.
Right. And Let's see, everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, someone had mentioned
Cream of rice for carbs. That's a great one. Yes, cream of rice for carbs.
Yeah.
TV dinners when we were little. We ate Spam a lot. We ate fried Spam growing up. That's I know.
And we survived,
Yeah.
actually, you know?
Yes.
I mean, yeah. And we
Yeah.
used to go out for root beer every Friday night, like frosty root beers and Dairy Queens and
Oh, us too, right? Us
Yeah.
too. But yes, but you can reach Julie at Dolphinine on Instagram. You can reach me at HelenFritsch_IFBB Pro. My website is ageisirrelevant.com. I have all my podcasts are there. My coaching information is there, and then my pro ager community info is there also too.
And Helen, you're gonna save this, right? So we can save the recording so we can share it later.
I hope so. Do I know how to do that?
I think when we end, it says either save recording or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, you guys. This is
all right, everybody.
fabulous.
I mean, we'll pop back on here again, but and if anybody has any suggestion for topics that you want to discuss later for another live, just let us know.
Yeah, it was fun.
Have a great Saturday.
Saturday.
Bye.
Bye.